Hi, I'm Steve Bookbinder. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to talk to you about the DEI Appointment Making course, arguably the most famous prospecting course ever taught. More than 500,000 salespeople over the course of 30 years have learned prospecting through the DEI method. It is impossible for a salesperson to maximize their success without mastering the simple art of making appointments. And I'm going to show you a little bit of what's involved with that right now. There are four things that we cover when we talk about appointment making. The first is the understanding that appointment making is the single biggest determining factor of whether or not you're going to hit your sales success. Appointments generate prospects, prospects generate sales. You want to change the number of sales, you got to change the number of prospects. You want to change the number of prospects, you need a certain number of initial conversations which begin with appointment making. And so we cement that understanding at the very top of the program. The second thing we do is we talk about sales ratios. Now, we've had the opportunity of working with thousands of companies and studying their ratios before, during, and after the training. A couple of things we've learned. First of all, most salespeople are just not good at tracking their numbers. The second thing we've learned is that when you're tracking numbers, there are four data points that we're going to be concerned with. Dials, that is the number of outreaches we make to people we want to meet with. Completed calls, that is the number of people we've actually gotten on the phone agreeing to talk to us. Appointments, that is the number of people who've agreed to sit down by appointment. And finally, the number of sales that are produced by those appointments. Well, if you look at it, you've got 5 ratios now to concern yourself with. The number of dials, the dials to completed calls, the completed calls to appointments, the appointments to sales, and finally, the average dollar value of each sale. 5 things, but 3 of them have to do with appointment making. And so, in fact, if you're great at appointment making, but only so-so in sales, you can outperform a superior salesperson who just simply doesn't do enough prospecting. The third thing that we look at is how to generate leads. Now, of course, it's wonderful to be able to make cold calls, but it's even better if you could generate warm leads. But what most salespeople don't recognize is even though you need to master the skills associated with word-of-mouth marketing, networking, using allies, and a variety of other strategies, you'll never get enough warm leads, or for most salespeople, you just simply won't consistently get enough warm leads and need to augment that lead list with cold calling to give you totally the right number of initial conversations that you need each week in order to support your prospect base and your goals. And finally, when we look at the appointment making class itself, what we're looking at is the ability to create the right flow, that is to say, start the conversation the right way, anticipate the response, and have a turnaround if it's a negative response. Well, let's just break that down, because what I'm describing is about a 1-minute sales process, the point between saying hello and getting the appointment. But that 1 minute is going to be the determining factor of how much money you make this year and how much money the team will make. Let's look at that. When I pick up the phone and call somebody, I am creating a flow. In fact, I'm taking advantage of a universal communication principle, which says that all people respond in kind. You will respond in kind when I call you. If I get on the phone and I'm nasty, you'll be nasty. If I'm one way, you'll be matching me in that way. How I start the conversation dictates how you're going to come back at me. It happens that when I call people, I generally get a negative response. Why? Because the average response to a salesperson is initially a negative response. For example, when you go into a store, what happens? You walk in, they say, "Can I help you?" You typically say no. They walk away. Then you say, "Oh, wait a minute, where are the sneakers? Where are the sweaters?" But the initial response to most salespeople around the world is a negative response. And so here we are calling people and saying, "Hi, I'd like to talk to you." And no matter how we say it, we tend to get a "not interested." We're all set. We're happy now. Just send me something. There's an entire list of anticipated negative responses. And in fact, we can always anticipate what's going to happen next. We know what people are going to say before they say it, because we taught them to say it that way. We cause them to say it that way. When we say something, they will answer in kind. And so by listing all the negative responses, we all of a sudden realize that depending upon what I say, I'm going to get a negative response in a different way. But I could list, anticipate, write down, and I'm going to have maybe 100 negative responses. But if I think about those negative responses enough, I realize I really don't have 1,000,000. I really have 4. There are 4 basic things people say. Happy now, not interested, send me something, or they ask a direct question. What we teach in the class is how to hear the responses falling into one of those 4 categories, how to create a turnaround which can be customized for each of those 4 categories, and how to deliver it in a conversational way so that we can increase our dials to completed calls and our completed calls to appointments, and we can give people more appointments, more sales success, more confidence, and ultimately help them make more money. Find out more about this proven sales process that works. Contact DEI today.